As we age, sleep changes, sometimes in quiet, frustrating ways. What used to be a peaceful night of rest can turn into hours of tossing, turning, or waking up feeling more exhausted than refreshed. Many seniors blame age itself, thinking poor sleep is just part of getting older. But the truth is, it's often caused by a few simple yet harmful habits that sneak in without us noticing. Today, we're uncovering 6 silent sleep mistakes that can rob you of your energy, mood, and even your health. Some of these might surprise you, but each one is fixable, and the rewards can be life-changing. Mistake number 1: ignoring your changing sleep needs as you age. Let's begin with one of the most overlooked yet deeply important truths about sleep in our later years. Your sleep needs evolve, but most people never adapt. Many seniors still try to sleep like they did in their 40s or 50s, waiting until midnight, watching TV until they doze off, or trying to power through sleepiness during the day with caffeine. But here's the reality: your body is speaking a new language now, and if you ignore it, your nights will suffer. As we grow older, our internal clock, known as the circadian rhythm, starts to shift. We may get sleepy earlier in the evening, wake up earlier in the morning, and find that deep sleep is harder to come by. That's not a failure, it's biology. Unfortunately, many older adults don't listen to these signals. They force themselves to stay up late, expose themselves to bright screens before bed, or push through fatigue without rest. Over time, this creates a damaging cycle of sleep debt, low energy, and chronic frustration. You see, quality sleep is not just about how many hours you're in bed, it's about when those hours occur. Studies from the National Institute on Aging show that most adults over 60 benefit from going to bed earlier and waking earlier, in line with their body's shifting rhythm. If you consistently fight this natural schedule, you may find yourself lying awake for hours or waking repeatedly during the night. What follows is often a cascade of daytime fatigue, brain fog, and even an increased risk of falls, memory problems, and cardiovascular issues. But here's the good news: your body is still capable of restorative sleep. You just need to partner with it, not fight against it. Let's talk about what this might look like in your daily life. Imagine a woman named Jean. She's 72, retired, and proud of her independence. For years, she's had the habit of staying up late, catching up on news, or playing puzzle games on her tablet. But lately, she's noticed she wakes up around 5:30 a.m., even if she doesn't fall asleep until nearly midnight. She's tired during the day, a bit irritable, and finds herself nodding off during afternoon phone calls. Her doctor told her this was normal, but deep down, Jean knows she's not feeling her best. What Jean didn't realize is that her body had shifted to an earlier sleep window, but her habits hadn't. She was still running on a younger person's schedule, even though her body was quietly asking for something different. Now imagine if Jean gently adjusted her evening routine. She dims the lights after dinner. She switches from screen time to reading or listening to music. She begins winding down around 8:30 and is in bed by 9:30. At first, it feels strange. But after a few days, something changes. Jean starts falling asleep faster. She wakes up feeling clearer. Her energy holds steady through the day. She even starts enjoying mornings again, something she thought was long behind her. This is not a fantasy. It's the power of aligning your schedule with your biology. If you're an older adult and you're struggling with sleep, the first place to look is your timing. Are you honoring your body's signals? Are you trying to sleep on someone else's clock, perhaps the one you used to live by decades ago? Here's what you can start doing tonight. Pay attention to natural sleepiness in the early evening. Don't push through it. Set a regular bedtime and wake-up time, even on weekends. Keep the bedroom dark, quiet, and cool, free from screens or interruptions. Avoid naps that are too late in the day, which can interfere with nighttime rest. And most importantly, embrace the new rhythm of your life. You're not broken, you're simply evolving. Because here's the truth: when you begin to honor the way your body sleeps now, not how it used to, you unlock deeper rest, more energy, and a gentler, more joyful experience of aging. Mistake number 2: relying on alcohol or sleep medications to fall asleep. Let's talk about a quiet trap many older adults fall into, one that begins innocently enough, but can quietly dismantle the very thing it promises to fix: sleep. It often starts with a glass of wine in the evening to take the edge off, or maybe a sleeping pill that helps you fall asleep faster. And at first it works. You drift off more easily. You feel like you've found your secret weapon. But over time, what feels like a solution becomes a silent thief, robbing you of deep, restorative sleep and creating a dependency that's hard to shake. Here's what most people don't realize. Alcohol and many common sleep aids do not actually help you sleep well. They sedate you, which is not the same as natural, healthy sleep. You may fall asleep faster, yes, but you're likely to miss the most important part of the sleep cycle: deep, slow-wave sleep and REM sleep, the stages where your brain processes memories, your body repairs itself, and your emotional balance is restored. Let's start with alcohol. It's a depressant, and at first glance it seems like a relaxing choice. A glass of wine with dinner, a nightcap before bed, it's been normalized, even romanticized, as a way to unwind. But what happens after you fall asleep tells a very different story. Studies from the National Sleep Foundation and leading geriatric sleep researchers show that alcohol disrupts sleep architecture. You're more likely to wake up during the night, more likely to have fragmented sleep, and more likely to feel groggy the next day. It also affects breathing patterns, increasing the risk of sleep apnea, especially in older adults. Now let's talk about sleeping pills. Prescription sleep medications like Zolpidem, often known by the brand name Ambien, or over-the-counter options like diphenhydramine, found in many PM formulas, may help in the short term, but they come with a hidden cost. These medications can increase your risk of falls, confusion, memory problems, and even daytime sedation that lingers long after you've woken up. In fact, the American Geriatric Society includes many sleep medications on their Beers list of drugs that are potentially inappropriate for older adults. Why? Because your body processes medications differently as you age. Your liver is slower to metabolize them. Your brain is more sensitive to their effects. What worked in your 50s may now leave you disoriented or dizzy in your 70s. So what's the alternative? How do you fall asleep naturally without relying on substances that may do more harm than good? It starts with building what experts call sleep hygiene, a routine that gently tells your body it's time to rest now. Let me introduce you to Martin. He's 75 and recently retired. For years, he had a habit of pouring a scotch every night while watching the evening news. He said it helped him wind down. But Martin started waking up at 3 a.m., unable to fall back asleep. He felt sluggish, his memory was slipping, and his doctor noticed his blood pressure creeping up. So Martin made a change. He swapped his nightcap for a calming herbal tea, chamomile to be exact. He began reading light fiction before bed instead of watching the news, and he added a 10-minute breathing exercise to his nightly ritual. Within 2 weeks, his sleep improved. Within a month, he was waking up refreshed, clear-headed, and more balanced than he'd felt in years. You don't have to rely on alcohol or pills to sleep well. You simply have to relearn the natural rhythm your body has known all along. Mistake number 3, napping too much or at the wrong time. Here's a quiet truth about sleep that often goes unnoticed. It's not just about how long you sleep at night. It's also about how you manage your energy during the day. For many older adults, daytime naps become a familiar comfort, a brief escape from fatigue or boredom. And sometimes that's okay. But when those naps stretch too long, happen too late, or become a daily crutch, they can quietly steal the very thing you're trying to protect: a solid, uninterrupted night's sleep. Let's be clear, napping isn't inherently bad. In fact, a short nap can be incredibly restorative. A 20 to 30-minute nap in the early afternoon has been shown to boost alertness, improve memory, and lift mood without disrupting nighttime sleep. But for many older adults, naps are no longer strategic. They become scattered, unplanned, or excessive. That's when the problems begin. Imagine this. You're sitting in your favorite chair mid-afternoon, sunlight coming through the window. You nod off for an hour, maybe even 2. When you wake, you feel groggy, disoriented. And later that night, when it's time to go to bed, you're wide awake. Your body clock is thrown off and your sleep pattern becomes fractured. Over time, this pattern can lead to what experts call sleep fragmentation, when sleep is broken into pieces across a 24-hour period, rather than concentrated at night. And this can create a whole host of problems: poor sleep quality, difficulty staying asleep, and a weakened circadian rhythm, the natural internal clock that governs your sleep-wake cycle. Let me introduce you to someone. Her name is Ruth. She's 79, loves gardening, and spends most afternoons reading or watching documentaries. Ruth started taking naps after lunch, not just a little doze but full-on deep 90-minute naps. She told herself, "I earned this rest." But her nights became restless. She would lie awake until after midnight, then wake again at 3 a.m. frustrated and anxious. Her doctor suggested sleeping pills, but Ruth hesitated. Instead, she decided to make a small change: shorten her nap. She began setting a timer for 25 minutes right after lunch. She replaced the late afternoon doze with a short walk around the block. It wasn't dramatic, but after a week, her nights became noticeably smoother. She fell asleep faster, stayed asleep longer, and woke feeling more refreshed. Sometimes it's not about eliminating rest. It's about using it wisely. Here's what sleep scientists recommend for healthy daytime rest. Keep naps short, ideally between 10 and 30 minutes. Longer naps dip into deeper sleep stages and make you feel groggier upon waking. Time them right. Aim for early to mid-afternoon, usually between 1 o'clock and 3 p.m., when your body naturally experiences a post-lunch dip in energy. Avoid napping after 4 p.m., as it can interfere with your ability to fall asleep at night. Create a nap ritual. Use a comfortable chair, a light blanket, and soft music to make it relaxing. But avoid going to bed unless you're ill or recovering. Track your sleep. If you find that you need long naps just to function, it may be a sign that your nighttime sleep isn't restorative. This could be due to medications, untreated sleep apnea, or other health concerns worth discussing with your doctor. And remember, napping should support your nights, not replace them. Your deepest healing, your most essential brain and body repair, happens during consolidated nighttime sleep. A nap is a snack. Sleep is the full meal. You deserve both clarity and calm. You deserve rest that doesn't just fill time but fills your spirit. So ask yourself, are your naps helping or hindering? With small shifts, you can reclaim a rhythm that supports your health, sharpens your mind, and uplifts your mood. Mistake number 4. Not creating a bedtime ritual that signals it's time to rest. As children, many of us had evening routines: soft pajamas, a bedtime story, perhaps a lullaby. These gentle cues told our young minds and bodies, it's time to slow down, to let go, to rest. But somewhere along the way, those rituals disappeared. Life became busier. We began collapsing into bed after long days, expecting sleep to arrive without invitation. And for many older adults today, that's exactly where the trouble begins. Because here's the thing, sleep is not a switch. It's a process, one that your body and brain need time to prepare for. Without a clear wind-down routine, your mind stays alert, your body stays tense, and sleep becomes something you chase rather than something that gently arrives. Let's consider how your day ends. Maybe you watch the evening news, scroll through your phone, turn off the lights, and lie there wondering why you're not tired. Or maybe you get ready for bed in a rush, brushing your teeth while still answering emails or thinking about the next day's to-do list. Your body in those moments is confused. It hasn't received a single clear signal that it's safe to release, to soften, to sleep. Now imagine a different ending. One that begins an hour before bed with small intentional choices. You dim the lights. You switch off the television. You pour a cup of herbal tea. Perhaps you listen to calming music or read a few pages of a book. Not a thrilling mystery, but something gentle, even familiar. Maybe you write down a few thoughts in a journal just to clear your mind. Maybe you sit in silence and breathe slowly and deeply. These aren't luxuries. They're essential steps in reteaching your body the rhythm of rest. Let me tell you about Carl. He's 80 and recently lost his wife. Sleep became elusive, his nights filled with worry, his bed a place of loneliness. He tried over-the-counter remedies and even talked to his doctor, but what ultimately helped was something much simpler: ritual. Carl began turning off all screens at 8 p.m. He took a warm shower, then rubbed lavender lotion into his hands, remembering how his wife used to do the same. He listened to a favorite instrumental playlist before getting into bed. Slowly, night by night, his body began to recognize these actions as signals. It's time to rest now. And sleep began to return. Your body craves consistency, thrives on routine. When you create a peaceful sequence at the end of each day, you train your brain to transition from the busy world into stillness. Here's how to begin. Choose a consistent bedtime and start winding down at least 30 to 60 minutes before. Dim lights to encourage melatonin production, the hormone that prepares you for sleep. Avoid screens, especially phones and tablets, which emit blue light and confuse your circadian rhythm. Engage in calming activities, reading, listening to music, gentle stretching, or warm bath. Repeat these steps each night until your body associates them with rest and repair. Because sleep is not something you fall into. It's something you gently walk toward. Mistake number 5, bringing worry and mental clutter into bed. There's a quiet moment each evening when the lights go out and the world grows still. For many, this should be the most peaceful part of the day. But for countless older adults, it becomes the hour when the mind begins to race. You lie in the dark, staring at the ceiling as thoughts tumble in, the bills that need paying, the doctor's words from your last visit, the conversation you wish you'd handled differently, or the deep ache of missing someone who is no longer here. This is one of the most common and most overlooked sleep mistakes, bringing the weight of the day and the worry of tomorrow into bed with you. And it's no surprise. As we age, responsibilities may shift, but concerns don't disappear. In fact, they often grow heavier. Health changes, loss of loved ones, financial stress, and the search for purpose in later years can all take up residence in your thoughts. Unfortunately, the place where these thoughts often emerge is the very one meant for rest. Here's what sleep experts have found. The brain needs closure before it can let go. Without it, the mind stays active, scanning and sorting, much like a computer left running in the background. Over time, this nightly mental clutter can turn into chronic insomnia, light sleeping, or a sense of exhaustion that no amount of rest seems to fix. But there is hope. And it starts with a shift in how you end your day. Let me share the story of Maria. She's 76, a former school teacher, and by all accounts, a deeply thoughtful woman. But every night, she'd lie awake for hours, her mind filled with worries about her children, her health, her future. She said it felt like her brain came alive just as she needed it to quiet down. Her doctor recommended sleeping pills. Instead, Maria tried something different. She began keeping a small notebook beside her bed. Each night, before turning out the light, she would write down everything on her mind. Sometimes it was a to-do list. Other nights, it was a letter she never sent or a simple prayer for peace. It didn't erase the problems, but it gave them a place to rest. And gradually, her mind followed. Here are a few techniques that can help you clear mental clutter and prepare for restful sleep. Write it down. Use a journal or notepad to record what's on your mind before bed. It doesn't have to be eloquent, just honest. Give your thoughts somewhere to land so they're not circling as you try to sleep. Create a worry window. Set aside 15 minutes in the early evening to think about your concerns, then set them down. This tells your brain, I've already dealt with this today. Practice simple breathing exercises. Deep breathing lowers your heart rate and signals your nervous system that it's safe to relax. Try inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4, and exhaling for 4. Try guided meditation or calming audio. Many people find that a soft voice guiding them through visualization or relaxation can gently pull the mind away from stress. Avoid watching the news or having heavy conversations late in the evening. These can stir emotions and leave your mind spinning. Remember, your bed should be a sanctuary, not a stage for life's worries. By choosing calm, by choosing closure, you send a powerful message to your body. The day is done. You are safe. You can rest now. Mistake number 6. Underestimating the power of light exposure, especially in the morning. There's something almost magical about morning light. The way it gently spills across the floor, how it warms the skin, how it seems to whisper, a new day has begun. But for many older adults, that light goes unseen, curtains remain drawn, mornings are slow to start, and daylight hours slip quietly by indoors. What's often missing isn't just sunlight, it's one of the most powerful tools for resetting the body's natural sleep rhythm. This final mistake, underestimating the role of light, is one of the least talked about and yet most impactful when it comes to sleep in your later years. As we age, our body's circadian rhythm, the internal clock that tells us when to sleep and when to wake, becomes more fragile. It's influenced by many things: meal times, activity levels, hormones, but above all else, it's shaped by light. Morning sunlight in particular helps regulate melatonin, the hormone that promotes sleep, and cortisol, which keeps us alert. If you don't get enough of it, your clock drifts off course. You may start feeling sleepy at odd times, waking up too early, or experiencing restless nights without a clear reason. Let's take a look at George, an 82-year-old widower who loved to read. He spent most of his days indoors, blinds drawn, reading under warm lamplight with soft music playing in the background. But slowly, George began to feel tired during the day and restless at night. His sleep became fragmented. He started taking naps, then lying awake in the early hours of the morning. He assumed it was just age. But when his daughter visited and opened the curtains one morning, something shifted. She invited him to join her for a walk outside before breakfast. George didn't think much of it until he noticed something after a few days. He was falling asleep more easily, staying asleep longer. His mood lifted. His appetite returned. And what changed wasn't a medication. It was the morning light. Here's why it matters so much. Light is information for your brain. Morning sunlight, especially within the first hour of waking, tells your body, this is daytime. It's time to be awake. That signal, when received consistently, helps your internal clock set a bedtime that aligns with your natural rhythm. Here's how to make this work for you. Step outside within the first hour after waking, even if it's just for 10 to 15 minutes. Natural sunlight is 100 times brighter than indoor lighting and far more effective at resetting your internal clock. Keep your curtains open during the day to let natural light in. Sit near windows while reading or having breakfast. Avoid bright lights at night, especially blue light from phones, tablets, or TVs. Dim the lights an hour before bed to signal to your body that it's time to wind down. If getting outside is difficult, consider using a light therapy box in the morning. These are safe, effective tools designed to simulate natural sunlight and help regulate circadian rhythms. Sleep is not just about the night. It begins with how you live your day. By stepping into the morning light, literally you give your body a daily anchor, a rhythm, a chance to feel in sync with the world again. If this video helped you or someone you care about, please give it a like and subscribe to the My Reboot channel. Your support helps us continue creating content that empowers and uplifts our community with every new chapter in life.